And we are live, or we should be. So, I'm not sure how the sound's going to be on this. Literally just purchased a new microphone and set it up, so not had too much chance to see how this is going to work. If there is anyone in the chat, feel free to let me know that the sound's working and it's fine. Man, I've gone through a lot of microphones recently. So when I first started off doing this, I went with Blue Yeti. Then we tried using a Rode Video Mic NTG. And now we've just switched over to the Shure SM7B. So let's see how that works. As I say, if somebody does want to comment on this, it saves me having to wait till the end to see how it goes. Excuse me. This isn't going to be a particular long stream because I have somewhere to be in about an hour. So I'm going to have to leave in about 45 minutes. But we'll see how it goes. So in the last live stream, actually, I'm back to the first one that I did 2 weeks ago. We covered Screen Connect and a vulnerability that was in Screen Connect. If you're running Screen Connect and you haven't yet updated it to the latest version, it might be a bit late, but you really need to do that. And I'd suggest that you follow the links that are left in that and that Huntress did to make sure that there's no persistent footholds, or so you can check for signs of compromise. But you really need to be on the latest version. If we look at Sheridan, there's still hundreds and hundreds of Screen Connect servers that have not been patched. I really don't know why people run remote access software on premise if they're not going to patch it. It's kind of an issue. So yeah, last week we covered. Last week's live stream was a bit of a long one. I covered pfSense, installing that on Proxmox. I also installed opnSense on Proxmox. Then went on and we had a look at WAN failover. So the next video that is released is the short version of that. I did link it, and a couple of people have said watching a 2-hour live stream to figure out how to do WAN failover is a bit much. So yeah, there's a shorter version of that coming out. It's about 10 minutes long. And that'll be published tomorrow. If there are any videos people want to see, then please leave. Just let me know in the comments. Just bear with me 1 second. I need to change this. Let me know in the comments if there's anything that you need or you'd like to see covered, and we'll do that. Sorry, that light is really in my eyes. So yeah, tomorrow's video covers pfSense. WAN failover. So if you've got like a 4G internet connection as a backup, for example, that's going to show you how to use that, and it'll only use it in a failover scenario, in case so you're not being charged for it, in case you do have one that uses data that you get charged for. The next one that I'm going to be covering on pfSense is going to be load balancing. It's very similar to that light's really bad. Second. Oh, there we go. That's better. So the second one that I'm going to cover is load balancing. So how you can use two internet connections together. There's a couple of options that we need to address in there, such as sticky connections. For example, if you log into a website, you need to make sure that goes through the same internet connection, because if you logged into a website and then the IP address changes, you're probably going to have problems with that session. So that is all built into pfSense, and that's what we'll go through next. I'm also going to cover the one failover on opnSense. I've never actually done it on opnSense, so I'm not really. I imagine it's the same procedure as doing it on pfSense. So we'll cover that as well. And again, I'm going to cover load balancing on opnSense as well. Once we've got them videos out of the way on both the pfSense and the opnSense ones, I'm going to look at doing some Active Directory videos. So we're going to get Windows Server 2022 installed, and we'll play with Windows deployment services. I'll start doing some videos showing you how to manage Active Directory from start to finish, hopefully. So we can take a look at that. And I want to do some more Microsoft 365 videos. I've only done a couple of them, I think, and they got quite a bit of engagement. But let's say I've only done a couple of them, so we're going to do more on them. Specifically Microsoft backup as well. So a lot of even IT companies have said that with Microsoft 365 you don't need a backup. Well, Microsoft have launched their own backup. It's quite expensive actually. So we'll take a look at that as well. So yeah, let me pull this over. So this plugin for the chat, I think I got that working last time. That should be fine. Where's me with monitor? This one. Let me just move this stuff off the screen a little second. So I don't need that on the screen. Let me just move this over. Still getting used to this live chat. So I'm going to do one every Wednesday, as I said in the last ones. We're only in March, so I'll do one every week, and then up to the end of the month, we'll see how that pans out. If we still don't get too many people showing up, as in new live streams, and I'm a small channel, then I might knock them to once a month until we start getting a bit of engagement. But yeah, we'll see how that works out. But apparently we have 0 views. Or 0 viewers and 1 like. So this is going to be interesting, me just sat here talking to myself. So all that being said, let me switch this over. I'm still trying to get the screen layouts working on things. I know it looks like a similar layout to... I've just had a missed call. I know it looks like a similar layout to StreamYard, but I'm not actually using StreamYard. Who's that? Somebody chasing me to make sure I'm going to be at that meeting later on. I'll give them a call back when this is over. Yeah, so I say we've literally just covered pfSense for one failover. opnSense, we've got some updates on here. Oh, so there's a new version of the new updates available for opnSense. Prevent gateway removal when it's currently bound to an interface. I don't know if that's been fixed in pfSense. But if you've got a gateway assigned to an interface and you delete it, it can cause all sorts of issues. They've fixed quite a few PHP deprecation warnings. So PHP 7.4 went end of life and they've upgraded it to 8. Just having a quick look over these. Add optional advanced properties state policy to influence state creation on a per rule basis. Fixed floating rule display. And we do have a viewer. This is a bit strange when you're doing it like this. So I'm watching. Keep up the good informative work. Thank you for that. I hope the sound's okay. The sound has been a nightmare. So I bought the Shure SM7B microphone, which everybody seems to use. It might have been a waste of money, to be honest. Then the gain's dead low on it, so I had to buy a cloud lifter, which is just an inline amplifier because the external amplifier that I'm using doesn't go up high enough to support the microphone that I'm using, so that was all fun. And of course, we've got loads of deliveries coming from Amazon, and they're all not turning up. So I'm just having a look at these. Firewall, fixed floating rule, fixed display of ICMP tooltip, fixed missing space in audit message, yes, neither in or there. Kia DHCP, so they've added the ability to import and export a CSV on reservation, so that's quite handy. Excuse me, 1 second. Intrusion detection, set exception policy, and app player error policy to their advertised defaults. Unbound, make atomic copies of root hints to appease them. No, so that's hopefully addressed an issue with Unbound startup. Unbound again, fix missing libraries and null FS, mount in CH root. Thank you for that. I really appreciate that because I wasn't sure how that was going on. Add aggressive NSEC option, not sure what that is. WireGuard, remove duplicate pub key field. Okay. WireGuard, address assorted interface configuration inconsistencies during configuration. Oh, WireGuard on opnSense. I'm trying to still figure the audience out on this. So some people prefer pfSense, some people prefer opnSense, and there seems to be quite a good split of the two. And I don't think I've done any videos on WireGuard and opnSense, which I do plan on doing. I have covered it on pfSense, but I plan to do some videos on how not to use the standard VPN providers and how you can use your own on DigitalOcean or Vultr for a bit more of a secure experience. So back on these. UI, fix epoch support as number in boot grid. UI, replace all occurrences in tree view. Wizard, reorder storage sequence to fix host name. Plugins, OS theme. I can't even say that. Cicada, 1.35. OS theme, Rebellion. Both contributed by Team Rebellion. And then we've got, these are just updated ports, so we updated Python to DNS Python 2.61. Xbart, just general libraries. Lights HTTP PD's been updated. Pcrete, they're using PHP 8.2.16, so this update is going to fix a lot of those. We'll do it and see if it breaks anything. Yeah. Click update on this and see what happens. I really need to follow the opnSense changes a bit more since I started covering it and doing a lot of videos on it. So, are we done? Let's go back into status. So on 24.1.3 and do updates again. So there are no updates available, so we're all up to date. So plugins, I don't think we've got much installed. Maybe show you how to install the themes on this. Was it under OS theme, was it? OS theme. Dark grey. Let's install that. Take a look at that theme. So that's done. That's just the change log for the various versions. Where's the configuration in here? I don't know how you change the theme in this. How do you change the theme on opnSense? Oh, that's not what I want. System configuration defaults. Nope, that just resets for defaults. General. There we go. Theme opnSense. So Cicada, or however that's spelled. Let's take a look at this one. Okay, it looks pretty much like the standard dark theme, I believe. We'll go back to firmware, packages, plugins. Let's go to plugins. Come on. OS theme. What was the other one? Rebellion, another dark theme. Why is this spinny thing? Not sure why that was still doing that. System configuration, where was it? Settings, general. So that's how we can change the themes. I've not really played too much of that. Did anything actually change then? Not sure what the difference was between them two themes. Look very similar to me. Does that theme actually change then? One's slightly darker on the sides here. Yeah, so I'm interested in doing the how to configure this for failover. It was a bit of an interesting way how I did it by having pfSense provide opnSense provide pfSense 1.1 and 1.2 while I was doing the demo. So I'm not going to start playing with opnSense here and changing things around because I still want to do the opnSense demo on one load balancing, which is pretty much, I think this is still set up for, yeah. So we're in failover group. I mean, the load balancing thing is pretty much the same. We just need to change the gateway groups to both go on tier 1. And then once we've done that, there's another option. I can't remember where it is. Under advanced, is it networking or is it miscellaneous? Looks under miscellaneous, I think. Where is it? I can't find the option I'm looking for. Oh, God. Right underneath me. Use sticky connections. So this is the option that we need to tick to make load balancing work properly. Otherwise, websites will break and things. So I'm going to do a video on that at some stage in the future. I think this is pretty much up to date, this version. Where is it? Update. Yep, so that's fully up to date on this version. Okay. If you're going to do tutorials, I would recommend opnSense, as pfSense has a lot more exposure on YouTube. See, I've looked at this, and you're absolutely right with that. There's a lot of pfSense videos, but even the ones that I do on pfSense, I know other people have covered them, but they tend to, I don't know, we tend to have different ways of covering things. So I am going to carry on doing the pfSense ones, but yeah, I want to do cover opnSense a lot more because, like you say, pfSense has a lot more exposure. opnSense doesn't, and it seems to be missing a lot of tutorials. I wasn't aware how many people actually followed opnSense and preferred it over pfSense. So yeah, I'm going to start trying to cover the gap in the market for missing tutorials on opnSense. What time are we on? 10 to. So 20 minutes in. To be honest, I do prefer the interface on opnSense. It just looks a lot more modern, even though the actual underlying system's the same. Just the way the navigation interface works is just much better. The ability to like search in the interface and yeah, just looks a lot cleaner than the pfSense one. If you compare them together, if you look at the dashboard on that. Let me change this so it looks at least. Where is it on the general setup? Clean. pfSense dark. Just change that over. I mean, they do look very similar, but just whenever they add anything to pfSense, the menus just get a little bit overpopulated with items. And they reboot and shut down on the diagnostics has always wound me up. We really should move them, but yeah, I guess it's personal preference between the two. And now that they've updated opnSense to opnSSL 3, there's not really much reason not to use it, to be honest. But I'm still playing this in a lab environment. Speed-wise is no difference. There's FreeBSD underneath it. So this is on FreeBSD 13.2. I'm curious to see if I think FreeBSD 13.3 is out. So expecting an update to drop for that at some stage soon. I'd like to know what the differences are on FreeBSD. FreeBSD 13.3 changes. Make this a bit bigger because that's really small. But obviously 13.2 is still supported by FreeBSD, so there's no problem with using it. What are the changes? Why does that keep going off? I think it's just a delay. Library improvements. Finding the companies I support, companies prefer pfSense, though personally, like you, I prefer opnSense, what I use at home. Yeah, so I'm using opnSense at home at the moment. That was because I think I was on pfSense Plus at home, and when I reinstalled it, I used opnSense to play with it a lot more. Yeah, companies do prefer pfSense. I mean, it does have the paid support options, but so does opnSense at the end of the day. I think people are just more familiar with pfSense. And like you said, there is a lot more tutorials and information available on pfSense than there is for opnSense, even though most of the guides and tutorials that work on pfSense also work on opnSense. They're kind of interchangeable. Just interface changes are different. Sorry, I'm just having a look at these FreeBSD changes because I've not updated any of my systems to 13.3 yet. Done the latest 13.2. I've got a mix. Some are on 13.2, some are on 14. Power D is now enabled by default, like minor changes. Head and tail now support quiet and verbose options. CFTP server can be figured to allow writes to files in a CH rooted environment. It's kind of handy, I suppose. Send mail's been upgraded. opnSSH has been updated to 9.6p1, so including some security fixes for newly discovered weaknesses in the SSH transport protocol. So FreeBSD now doesn't, when you generate an SSH keys, it doesn't use RSA by default. It's using the ED 25519. So that's good, unless you like SSHing into older systems. Time zone data. So Unbound has been upgraded to version 1.19.1. I can't remember who do this. Where's packages? What's Unbound under? Is it under packages or is it under? Yeah, 1.19.1. So opnSense is up to date as well with that. What else was looking at? XZ has been upgraded. Zlib. Device drivers, PCI MCFG regions on. Problem with GRAID implementation of Promise RAID 1. Created 4 more disks has been fixed. The Intel wireless LAN Wi-Fi driver has been updated, supporting chipsets for BE200. I really wish they'd fix the speed issues on FreeBSD. Having to run Linux in a Beehive VM so you can get your full speed out of FreeBSD is just absolutely ridiculous in 2024. Why you'd need to do that is... I appreciate the developers need time to look at it, but man, the Intel Wi-Fi drivers on FreeBSD have been in a terrible state for a long while. Storage section, general storage, NFS changes. So NFS server can be running a properly configured VNet jail, but the VNet jail must be on its own file system. Okay. OpenZFS has been upgraded. General network, netgraph no longer truncates to 16 bits. So it allows full 32-bit support. Support for IPv6 RFC 4620 node info is now disabled by default. pfFilter rules can also be enabled for packets delivered locally to enable the pf redirect rules for connections initiated from the host. This can change the behavior of rules which match packets delivered to LO0, so packets on the loopback interface. Interesting. When enabled, it's best to ensure that packets delivered locally are not filtered, e.g. by adding set skip on LO0. Hardware support. BugleBone Black no longer supported. Virtualization. Google GVE. I've never actually used Google's virtualization. This is not a change. FreeBSD 15, they're removing 32-bit support on platforms other than ARM7. So ARM7 maybe removed in FreeBSD 16. Yeah, so the minor changes. So yeah, it's definitely worth upgrading from 13.2 to 13.3 on FreeBSD if you are running it with the opnSSH changes on the SendMail ones if you're using SendMail. One thing I do want to cover on opnSense, and I keep trying to get round to it, is ZenArmor. I've reached out to them, and the guys over at ZenArmor are quite cool. They've agreed to give me licenses to demo it, which I'm sure they would do because it obviously benefits them. But I do want to cover ZenArmor, and I've not really played with it too much myself, to be honest. So that's kind of what I'm doing in my spare time in the background, playing with ZenArmor and seeing what the differences are between the free version and the paid version. It's quite cool. I like the reports out of it. Just having a quick look on here. So curl is on 8.6.0. I'm always interested in seeing how up to date opnSense is compared to pfSense. I thought I'd seen that, didn't I? Why does my screen keep going blank? So open SSL 3.03. Open VPNs on 2.6.9. This is what version are we on here? I like both. There's a client export. The Open VPNs is built in it. I think it shows you the I'm not dropping to a shell, can't be bothered just to check what that is. There's definitely a lot of packages available for opnSense. I was kind of hoping they would release a page. If anybody has seen it, please leave it in the comments on what plugins are and are not compatible with the version 24 of opnSense. Jamie, guest agent. Acme. So yeah, I'm going to do some videos on the Let's Encrypt stuff because I've not covered them at all. And HA proxy. I love HA proxy sitting in front of things. There's definitely a lot of stuff available for it. 6.4 Zabbix agents. OS 0 to... Oh, there's a video I forgot to do. Somebody's asked me if I can demo how to do a site-to-site with zero tier. I've used zero tier a lot. It's a great product, but I've never tried to configure a site-to-site with it. That'd be an interesting video to do. So it's 8:05. I do have somewhere to be, so I'm going to have to cut this short. We'll be here again next Wednesday at the same time of 7:30. Let's say I've got somewhere to be, so I really need to get my butts home. So thank you to those that did join. spread the word, whether you're watching this live or whether you watch it on catch up, is that a thing? Or whether you're watching the replay of it, that we are doing this every Wednesday. So the more people that we get involved, obviously the more pleasant of an experience that the live streams will be. So, come on. So I'm going to call this a day here. This is a bit awkward. I need to set... is it like display? Yeah. So I need to set the Stream Deck up. So I've got a Stream Deck Mini sitting around somewhere. And I've got a normal Stream Deck. I'm going to do some videos on them because they're really useful. I've kind of been plodding on with my Logitech G15 keyboard. I think I've got a G19 at home. They're old keyboards that are not sold anymore, but yeah, they're really great keyboards. So yeah, we're just going to cut this short here, and we'll see you next week. Thank you for those that turned up, and thank you for confirming the sound worked and obviously interacting with us.